regularly scheduled City Council meeting, which we will declare called to order at 6:05 p.m. I apologize for the delay. I was getting acquainted with our new city attorney, and so I'm looking forward to introducing her to you a little bit later in our agenda. Now let's proceed with our roll call. Invite our city clerk to conduct that for us.
All right, Mayor Smith.
Present.
Andy Wilson.
Present.
Mark Fennison.
Present.
Joe Shy.
Joe was called earlier and indicated that his work is going to preclude him from being here this evening.
Okay, Kevin Flynn.
Present.
And Justin Olson.
He also informed the city that he would not be able to be here as well. He would like to be excused. So, however, we do have a quorum, and so we can proceed. We would begin, as is customary, with an invocation, and we would invite Mr. Flynn to offer that for us.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your presence. We thank you for this meeting and the ability we have to use your word to govern our actions. And we ask that you give us the wisdom and the knowledge to do this properly and to deal with the situations this city faces. We ask for your blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. All right, now I'd invite all to please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance, and I would invite Mr. Fennison to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will begin with the mayor's report. I would start with the first item noted, which is the fire department parking area. I am going to keep reminding everybody who attends our city council meetings that the fire department owns the parking lot across the street. And they, it appears, are holding training meetings at the same time of our city council meetings, and so they would like us to not park in that area, because that was why they constructed that parking zone for their training meetings. So if any of you happen to have parked out there, they would appreciate it if you might relocate your vehicle. No, it isn't. Well, I think they'd like it because they were standing out there looking. But,
That's one across the street.
Yeah. Maybe we'll take a little breather.
I thought everybody could park in that alley.
Meeting adjourned.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, the one that's right across the street,
Yeah.
that's fire department property, and they created that specifically because of this conflict, so that they would have somewhere for their people to park. So, yeah. So we've been trying to remind people.
It's something the city will have to address as far as parking. We used to own the fire building, so we had already parking there. But they're an independent entity now.
Well, it wasn't an issue when we had our Tuesday night meetings, but when we moved to Thursdays, that's when we ended up.
Theirs on Thursdays.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But it's the trials of living in a little city. Let's see. So is the traffic bad coming down?
I left at 3, and I got here at 5:40. So, wow.
It's a 2.5-hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From where?
from Southeast.
That's the way.
It's a ways, so yeah.
Don't do it on a Friday.
It
If they ever
wasn't
have you come down on a Friday.
too bad. It wasn't. Well, you come in the morning, already, but yeah, it wasn't too bad, but it was a ways.
Traffic's good until she gets off and becomes the Vader. It's the red lights and the traffic in town, which is murder.
Yeah.
We're not accustomed to the big city traffic. So.
Yeah,
I've been in.
I always tell them that at church. I said, I got caught in traffic, that's why I'm 26.
And Renton, and Fife, and Tacoma, and
We have
JBLM, and
300,000 trips a day into and out of the 1 square mile downtown. 300,000. Supposed to be 700,000 in another 20 years.
Would you say that again?
We have 300,000 trips every single day into and out of the the 1 square mile that's our downtown core. That's and that could be on foot or by bike or by bus.
Yeah,
But
but that's.
300,000, yeah.
It's supposed to go up to what?
About almost 700,000 by 2030.
That's the congestion.
It's a congestion problem because there's only so much pavement, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a congestion problem already.
It is a congestion problem already.
I'm from New York City, so
Well, I think we need
I tell the story, we used to go
to
shopping,
We get everybody back.
Yeah.
Okay.
and I'll tell you later.
Yeah. Okay,
Down to me.
I believe that we now have a restored quorum, so we'll proceed. The second item I wanted to bring to your attention were public hearing notices. There'll be a property tax levy rate public hearing scheduled in our next city council meeting. That's the...
Yes, I believe that is correct.
That'd be in 2 weeks. And then there'll be a draft ordinance, marijuana regulations, a public hearing before the planning commission.
But it has to be rescheduled.
Yeah, we hope to have it on October 19th, but the newspaper inadvertently didn't publicize it, as they indicated they would. So it's forcing us, because you have to have 2 weeks advance notice, to reschedule that. But I wanted council to know that that's coming up. Last thing, I wanted to inform the council that I met again with our building inspector for the city of Vader this morning. We revisited some of the concerns that we have, and he's set in motion a number of permit violation processes. We won't go into particulars, but I just want to let the council know that the burned out buildings, particularly the one at the end of 9th Street, is a priority number 1 on his list, and we're going to be going after the deadbeat land property owner and the other burned out buildings as well. So I'm very excited about no nonsense, and we have the ordinances in place and the city attorney with teeth. So we did have a comment from a member of the public. Would the council care to entertain?
Just one quick question.
Sure.
There is a chemical spill.
Yes, he was made aware of that.
Is that going to be addressed too?
Yeah, he's made aware of all of that. So I actually invited him to approach you with some background if you had information that you think might be pertinent to that situation. But it depends entirely upon you.
I do on the county also. I have the same information the county has.
Excellent. Then that's good to know, but stay tuned because action is forthcoming.
What about the one next to the Masonic Lodge?
That's number 2 priority. There are 9 very different structures in this community that we visited each one, and he's documented the circumstances. So we're not sitting on our hands on this situation. It is the outcome of years of preparation in this community. So I'm very excited about where we're at. That concludes the mayor's report. So with that having been completed, let's proceed down our agenda approval. You'll note that I don't have any particular changes that I'm aware of.
I make a motion then, sir.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the city council meeting agenda for 10/8/2015.
Mr. Wilson has submitted the motion as noted. All in favor say, do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Pence. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion is carried. And now the minutes approval from our previous city council meeting. Hopefully you've had a chance to read and peruse those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve September 29th, 2015 City Council meeting minutes.
Okay, Ms. Henderson submitted a motion to approve those minutes. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Wilson. That'll be quick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Voucher approval for the first half of October 2015. Hopefully you've read and reviewed those financial statements and are ready for council.
I do need some more signatures, so please don't leave tonight before
Not
you do
leave
that.
without signing. Okay. Thank you for that reminder. We have council action.
Put a motion together, forward that we approve the vouchers for October 2015, total $11,597.93.
Okay. You've heard the motion submitted by Mr. Flynn to approve the figures as noted. We have a second.
I will second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Wilson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Public comment. It's time for that.
We have one person.
Okay. Well, I would add as well, before we begin, that I was contacted by a member of our community, and he is not in state at the moment, but he asked if we would read an email letter for communication to the City Council this evening. He is determined to have his voice heard, and so I'm not aware of any restriction on such for communication, and so I'm going to invite our city clerk to read that after we've heard our first. Perhaps you could pass that along to our city clerk.
Okay.
So who is first?
Julie Hedgeland.
Okay. Please take the podium.
Julie Hedgeland, 1108 East Street, Vader, Washington. I was given a trailer, one of the trailers up on S Street. It's a double wide, but it's still older than the 5 years. It's the first one that you see when you go up there on the left side. And I was wondering if the council would grant approval for me to live in it, since it's got copper wiring. Mine is this 1967, and it's a single wide, and it has aluminum wiring. And this has copper wiring. I was wondering if you guys could give approval for us to move it, if you would give approval for us to move it, so that I could live in it.
Well, I can respond to you if council defer to me. This is not the forum. In the public comment isn't a forum in which you could solicit council action on such a thing. But I'd be more than happy to meet with you in City Hall at your convenience. And we can go through the permit processes, and it would probably be an issue that would have to go before the planning committee first for their review. There are legal steps that are involved in such a thing. So I don't know if council members have any other insight, but
I thought that our engineer would have to be involved with that.
Yeah. It's a much more complex issue than simply asking permission from the council.
Okay.
So get in touch with city clerk and we'll arrange a time to meet with you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
our next...
Will be the letter, and this is a letter from Mike Parsons. I'll just put that here. Okay. He says, City Council, first, I am truly sorry that I am not able to deliver this message in person. The other day, I noticed a Little Falls yard sign had fallen over by the post office. As I was fixing it, Andy stopped to see what I was doing. I told him that I was fixing the sign, and we started a conversation. In this conversation, he told me that changing the name would cost the town $30,000. This is really upsetting that a city council person would knowingly tell the residents this lie. The costs have been determined to be around $8,000. So as I have done in a city council meeting in the past, I'll say it again, but more blunt. Andy, please stop the lies. This lie made me so mad and made me think how dedicated am I to this name change. So here it is. Number 1, my home is mine and I plan on retiring here. Number 2, the name Vader has not done any good for the town. Number 3, I'm sure that there are people that want the name change, but because of the lies are afraid of the cost. Number 4, the name Little Falls will bring new families, new business, new tourism, and new revenue. So how sure am I about this? The cost of the name change will not cost the city any, and so all city council members and residents hear and understand this. I'll repeat it. The name change will not cost the city any money. The money that is needed will first be raised through fundraising, and in November 2016, whatever is not raised, donated, or is left owing of this $8,000, I will pay myself out of my own pocket. The reason I'm telling you this is so that another rumor is not started that the mayor is making us contributors. Thank you for your time and your service. Mike Parsons.
Okay. Somebody who obviously is willing to put his money where his mouth is. Okay, and so that obviously is a very sensitive issue at this moment in time. And, okay, well, duly noted. Yes, Mr. Wilson.
He was upset also. I have had a lease on that property to maintain everything that goes on for over 35 years, from Dixie Harcum, who was murdered here, and Tom Harcum. I have that in writing. I want to make that sure that it's put to the record, and I didn't bring it with me. I didn't think it was needed. But if anybody has those signs on the yard and I want to be nasty, you'll take them off. But I'm not nasty. Period.
Good. That's a response to...
That's the response to his, because he got a little upset because I showed him the letter that I had, and I had one way back 35 years ago. I have control of that property by lease.
Yes, I've personally talked to Mr. Harkin myself, and he's willing to allow signage if people ask permission first. That's the only restriction he has. So... Very good. Okay, thank you for sharing the contents of that letter. So let's proceed now with our special reports. It's my privilege as Mayor of the City of Vader to introduce to members of the community and the council Mrs. Jennifer Robertson, and she's an attorney of distinction up in the Seattle area, and is up for election herself. She's currently serving on the Bellevue City Council. So we're privileged to have her services under contract for the City of Vader. But I invite you, Jennifer, to take the podium and take a minute or two and share with us a little of your background.
Sure. Well, this is not my first time in Vader because, and I don't know how many council members I met. So we'll just leave it there. I just want to make sure. Oh, it doesn't work. Be quiet. Let me hold it really close then. I was with Morris Law for a number of years and was serving Vader last year under that contract. I've been an attorney since 1993, and I've been doing municipal law since 1996. I did a lot of litigation in my past. I was a prosecutor, I was general litigator, and I did litigation for cities. After I started having children, not very family friendly, so I backed off and put my legal career on lower gear. I've got 3 daughters, ages 10, 13, and 17. And ended up doing some work with Bellevue, because that's where I live, and they had an opening on their planning commission back in 2003. I served on their planning commission, including the year as chair. I chaired their light rail best practices committee, and then I ran for council in 2009 when a council member I really respected died suddenly in office. And so I've been elected twice. I'm running for my third term right now in Bellevue. And once my youngest daughter started kindergarten, I geared back up my legal career, and I've been a city attorney over the years for a number of cities. Down here south of Seattle at Eatonville, where I'm currently city attorney in Ruston, and have worked for Gig Harbor back in the day. I've also was city attorney in Clyde Hill and then at Hunt's Point, and did city attorney work for Bothell. I mean, there's just a lot of different little cities that I've worked for. Michael T. I did specialty litigation for Kent and Tukwila. So I've been doing cities both as an attorney and as a policymaker for, I guess almost 20 years next year. And just really like working with cities because when you're working as a city attorney, you can sometimes find innovative ways to serve the city to help them provide better government. I really like helping solve problems. You know, my work I think I'm a better attorney now than I was before I ever got involved in politics, because not every issue has a legal solution, but almost every issue may have a political solution that's better than a legal solution. And so I think I'm better at advising my clients now because I can see different solutions and ways to get better outcome for the citizens and for the city than I used to. So, I really am very pleased to be at Vader and serving you guys again, and looking forward to helping you guys keep your city running very well. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's always exciting for us. We were so pleased and grateful to have Carol Morris as our city attorney, one of the preeminent attorneys in the state of Washington. But we don't feel like we're missing a beat here with the skill set that you bring. So, and just getting an opinion earlier before our council meeting fills me with a great sense of satisfaction that we're going to be well served with our legal counsel. Thank you. Well, it is also our privilege now to introduce to the public and the council Mr. Tim Elsey, who's the Lewis County Public Works Director.
Good evening, City Council. Thank you for having me here again. I really appreciate it. The last time that I was here, I was pleased to report to the council that the water loss has been reduced to below 20%. And so we're really proud of that, and we think that that gives the city opportunities that you wouldn't have had before. But also, so that you know, is we put in grants, not loans or any type of repayable or any matching grants, but grants from CDBG to add a water reservoir to the system for several years now. And this year we were lucky enough to receive $717,000 from CDBG to put in a new water reservoir for the city of Vader. It will fix the largest weakness that the water system has, which is having one reservoir means that we can't take the reservoir offline for maintenance or to get in and make sure that we line it, and there's a lot of situations that are there. The reservoir that we have right now is 250,000 gallons, which it's actually enough for the usage that we have now as long as we don't have any problems. But the other thing that this will do is it will allow us to increase the water pressure on the higher properties in the system, because we'll be able to put the water tower higher in the system and add that head. And finally, it will also allow us to, in high turbidity events, we won't have to try to treat that muddy water. Well, the reservoirs will be able to handle the water for 3, 4, 5 days and allow the turbidity in the river to go back down, so that we're not working quite so hard to treat the water. And I'm certain you guys can taste and see the difference when we're trying to treat that muddy water. The plant is an amazing piece of engineering without a doubt, and it does a really, really good job. But treating muddy water is an incredibly difficult thing to do. So I wanted to come down and report that we are going to be able to add a new reservoir. Not exactly sure the size right now. We're expecting it's going to be another 250,000 gallon tank or thereabouts. And so in we got the $17,000 to do it. So we'll be going out for requests for proposals soon for engineering firms to help us construct that. And then hopefully at some point in the future, as the county is no longer the steward of the water system, we hand that back over to the city. We will hand over a water system that is much better for you.
Thank you.
I'm speechless and stunned.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah. I think a round of applause is in order.
The community is certainly going to be poised to grow and expand or do what you want as far as the citizens will want to go in the future, without a doubt, as far as the water system goes. And I know you're looking at many different ways to improve the system with the sewer as well. As you're aware, the city was under a voluntary water moratorium when the county took over the water system. And so that will be gone soon when we submit and have a new water system plan approved by Department of Health. And that will add several dozen connections at that point, and then the new water reservoir will make the system where it could be expandable in the future.
Super.
Wow. That is, I know the city and the county have had our chafing spots as we've had the receivership process, and yet we've had our moments of discomfiture. But Mr. Elsey, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of the City Council and the residents of the City of Vader. We express our sincere appreciation for what you've done and are doing. This is an historic accomplishment, because for 8 years as mayor, this has been a looming trial and challenge, how we could expand our storage facility. And we've tried in the past and failed. So you've done something that we couldn't do. And it will raise the ceiling on our potential and our growth and development on a number of levels. So it's historic. It doesn't register to us. It's huge for the city of Vader. Well, thank you for that wonderful report. I wasn't sure what to expect. So, thank you. Okay, that's newsworthy.
I put a shower upstairs now.
One of our council members had 15 pounds of pressure.
23 pounds.
23 pounds. So that's barely a squirt. That's huge. Okay. Well, on that exciting note, let's proceed with our official agenda that pertains to city business. Item number 1. We're just filled with important people here at our council meeting tonight. Item number 1 is we're going to consider a proclamation presented to us by a representative of the Human Response Network. And I don't have your name.
Valerie.
Valerie.
I'm Valerie Santa Maria.
Okay. Well, Valerie, if you wouldn't mind taking the podium, and we'll give some minutes to you.
Was supposed to bring you guys some flyers, so
Okay.
I guess do you want me to just pass them out? Or?
Sure. We're very informal here. I'll take one for our meeting.
Thank you. And then each of the city members here. Just gives a little bit of information about our organization. You guys want to just pass them on? I'll tell you a little bit about our organization. I'm Valerie Santa Maria. I'm the domestic violence advocate and the shelter advocate for Human Response Network. We're located at 125 Northwest Chehalis Avenue, which is over close to the courthouse, across from the Department of Health, or the Health Department, sorry. We are the only organization in Lewis County. We're nonprofit, and we help victims of domestic violence and their children, and also of sexual assault. We have a confidential shelter which houses up to 15 people at a time, and for women and children. And we also we have support groups, and we have sexual assault support groups, domestic violence support group, and we run on grants and donations from our community. So we're open. We have a crisis line that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and
we're open Monday through Friday.
Sounds like a laudable service.
Are there any questions?
Do you ever get patrons or clients, people, victims from as far south as Vader?
They're all over in Lewis County, yes.
What's that number? It's not on here.
Our phone number?
Yeah. You said you had a hotline number?
Yes, and I am not the one, I apologize, I'm not the one who developed this little form, but
Well, can you give me the number?
yes, it's 360-748-6601. Yes, I apologize.
Sure. I've got a mouth, I know how to use it.
Okay. And you're encouraging the council, based on the services you provide, to approve a proclamation to be declared in the city of Vader?
Yes, please.
I, for one, would...
For April,
Pardon?
is this, calculator says the month of April?
For October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
That was a domestic
We
abuse
got
or
sexual
abuse,
assault awareness.
child abuse.
Oh, and April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
That's
Okay.
the one I got, the proclamation I got.
Oh,
That's not the right one then.
how about the one that I handed you? Do you have the...
Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Okay, so yours is the correct one then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It reads, appears to be the appropriate one. Would the council express an opinion about approving such?
I'd like to hear it. Can you just give us an overread?
Well, I think they want me to, after, with the council's approval, read it with your authority to declare it.
Got my approval.
Would we make a motion?
Let's make a motion to read the proclamation on Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
We've heard the motion. We've got a second. Any council discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. So,
Thank you.
it'll be my privilege to read this proclamation. Domestic Violence Awareness Month, Proclamation 2015. Whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month is intended to draw attention to the fact that domestic violence is widespread and impacts every community member of the city of Vader. And whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse. And whereas the problem of domestic violence is not confined to any group or groups of people, but crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and societal barriers, and is sustained by societal indifferences. And whereas we must work together to educate our community about domestic violence prevention, supporting survivors, and speaking out against harmful attitudes and actions, victims should have help to find compassion, comfort, and the help they need. And domestic abusers should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. And whereas with leadership, dedication, and encouragement, there is evidence that we can be successful in preventing domestic violence in Lewis County through increased education, awareness, and community involvement. And whereas the Human Response Network is the recognized accredited services provider for domestic violence advocacy services for the citizens of Lewis County. Now therefore, I, Kenneth D. Smith, Mayor of the City of Vader, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2015 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Vader, Washington. We ask that community members recognize the serious impact of domestic violence and to support and embrace the significant role each of us can play in the prevention of domestic violence. Signed, sealed, and dated this 8th day of October 2015. So it will be my privilege and honor to affirm my name to that proclamation. So thank you very much for your presentation. I think it deserves a round of applause. We will affix this in an appropriate location. 2, the recommendations for the Park Board and Planning Committee. I am sure that you are aware that there is a vacancy on the Park Board. I would begin with that. An individual had expressed interest in serving on that Park Board and actually had invited himself without council authority or permission to do so. And so I have personally spoken with that individual and informed him that even though he's in the spirit of community service, functioning on that board, and the other members of it have actually embraced his position. That confusion has been cleared up because it's the mayor's privilege and responsibility to identify candidates, and it's the council's authority and privilege to confirm the nominations that I would present to you. So it's your responsibility to officially confirm members of the Park Board and the Planning Committee. So with that in mind, since I've been out and about in this election cycle, I have become acquainted with a number of extremely qualified individuals in our community, and one of them in particular has struck me, and you will note in this the letter that I prepared for you. His name is Kolo Totai, and he lives on E Street. He's a longtime homeowner in our community. His children have attended our local schools. He's a successful contractor. He's highly qualified in all aspects of construction, cement work, and brickwork, and equipment operation. He loves Vader and has extensive experience in working with people. He's assisted the city on a number of occasions with park-related projects. He is one who did the cement work at no cost to the city, essentially.
To the basketball courts.
Pardon?
He did the basketball courts.
He did.
Yep.
And so, and he possesses the attributes of character and personal integrity, which I believe will suit him well for service on our Park Board. For these reasons, I am pleased to present him to you for your confirmatory vote to serve as a member of the City of Vader Park Board. And would invite council action.
We need a motion on that?
Yeah, we would.
I'll put a motion forward that we approve Prolo for a position on the Park Board.
Okay, you've heard the motion to approve Kolo Totai, his position on the Park Board. We have a second for that. Seconded by Mr. Wilson. Do we have any additional insight or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Thank you.
I would like to tell the council I've stopped by and seen Steve the other day. He's been sick ever since
Yes, he has.
Thursday. And I stopped by yesterday and talked to him, and he's feeling better, and
Thank you for that.
but he didn't think he'd make it tonight, and I said, well, you better not.
Yeah, we don't need to get it there. Yeah, I spoke to him as well.
You did?
Yeah. And he wanted to be here because he's excited about restaffing the Park Board. Okay, well, the second, but perhaps even more important position is we have 2 vacancies on the Planning Committee. And as I've indicated, I've been out searching for an individual who I believe would have the competency and the willingness to serve in that important position. We currently have 3 members on the Planning Committee, one of whom is present here tonight, Mr. Bob Goff. Acknowledge your presence and recognize you. And so it's not easy to find candidates because this is not what you refer to as a high profile or a fun position. It's critical. So anyway, the individual I've encountered and interviewed, and I believe she's well qualified to fill one of those positions. Her name is Victoria Parsons. She's a relatively new resident of Vader, but they're property owners, and they have they're keenly focused on the future of this community. And I've interviewed her at length. I can report that she's highly qualified. And she loves Vader and has extensive experience in working with people. She's community-minded and possesses the attributes of character and personal integrity, which I for one, personally believe will suit her well for service on that planning committee. For these reasons, I'm pleased to present her to you for your confirmatory vote to serve as a member of the Vader Planning Committee. And would await council action.
I'll put a motion forward that we approve Victoria Parsons as a member of the Planning Commission.
Okay, you've heard the motion to approve Victoria Parsons as a member of the planning committee. Do we have a second? Seconded by Mr. Penson. Do we have any commentary from other members of the council? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion is carried. And just so the council is aware, this planning committee is going to they will be hosting the public hearing relating to the marijuana issue in this community. So that meeting was scheduled for the 19th of October. It's going to be a highly charged event, I am going to predict. So we haven't rescheduled it yet, but I suspect it will be sometime prior to the elections. So stay tuned. We do have another individual who's expressed interest. He's extremely qualified, a member of city councils in the previous communities. He lives in Vader, but he's not healthy enough. He knows it's a long story, but stay tuned. I will have his name ready for you by the 1st of November. So with that, then we'll be fully staffed on our planning committee and our park board. So with that, then let's proceed to item number 3, the council consideration of resolution 18-2015, which is contract amendment number 3 for Gibson Olson's engineering services relating to our CDBG side sewer project. You should hopefully have had a chance to read the prospectus relating to that in your handouts. And I would invite, based on that, the council consideration of that resolution.
This is for approving the amendment.
Yeah.
You would approve the resolution.
Pardon?
You would approve the resolution. I'm sorry, I didn't give you any wording for this one.
Approval for it.
Sorry.
Pretty straightforward.
Well, I'll put a motion forward for consideration of Resolution 18-2015, contract amendment number 3 for Gibbs and Olson Engineering Services, contract relating to CDBG side sewer project for $23,783. Yep, I got that right. And there.
Would include approval of it?
Yes.
And you need to read the...
Oh, I got to read the whole introduction part, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, got to give it all. Resolution number 18-2015, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Vader, Washington, authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the Gibbs and Olson Incorporated contract for engineering services to include additional and unanticipated design and construction phase engineering services for the CDBG funded inflow and infiltration removal project.
Okay, you've heard that motion submitted to you by Mr. Flynn to approve the resolution as noted. Do we have a second for that motion? Seconded by Mr. Wilson. Now's your opportunity for additional comment, insight, observation, concern. We do have a comment from a member of the public.
Yep.
Good time to do that. Yeah.
What are we paying $20,000 for?
These are additional unanticipated expenses related to the side sewers that were replaced under the grant monies that have been extended.
Where's our bill? Is there a bill? 22,000?
Yeah. This is an additional amount to the, and would bring their total to $252,054. It's all within their anticipated budget. This is monies that are there.
And it's all covered by grants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our money.
It is.
And we don't have to pay it back, but it's our money that we're being spent. And $23,000 for these guys to drive around and sit in a truck all day is too much money.
Well, this isn't a cross-examination. I mean,
Okay, that's my opinion.
yeah, Bob, you could make that statement, but I don't think it's based on facts. I think it's emotion, because we're aware of just what the expenditures of the money is. We haven't articulated in the council, but it's a public record, and if you'd like to research where it's going, it's available.
I've been listening and hearing them come back and say that there's a manhole that's buried 3 feet underneath, and Kathy's saying that, you know, they've gone through the whole system, but yet we're paying $18,000 to raise a manhole that they supposedly went through our whole system, and, you know, that kind of stuff.
This is the side sewer project.
Yes,
There may be some confusion there, but I'd be more than happy to meet with you afterwards, and maybe with Jill as well. We can clear up some of the concerns.
Thanks.
All right, any other observation from members of the council? Hearing none, let's put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Excellent. That motion is carried. We'll proceed now with item number 4, council discussion on citizens' concerns about light pollution in the city of Vader. As I noted, I've been out and about and rubbing shoulders with our residents, and one of the residents approached me, and I think that he's actually maybe conversed with some of the council members in months past about concerns he's got about the light poles that are within our community. And some of them are, in his opinion, excessively bright. And he has a light sensitivity in his eyes, and so I invited him to come tonight, and we would put this on the council's agenda, and that he would then be present to share some of his concerns about it. And he's not here. So I would invite the council to provide insights.
We have, from my house, when I'm sitting there at nighttime, there's almost 4 street lights off and on, off and on, off and on. One is right over by Doug McGinnis's house. The other one seems to be right...
There's one over by the church. There's one over by the church.
Yeah, the church, too. Then there's, oh, gosh. I can't tell you right now, but there's at least I can see them just sitting outside at night and off and
They're
on.
flickering on and
Flicker.
off.
Well,
They come
one
on,
by
they're on
Doug
for about
McGinnis.
15 seconds, and then they go off.
Yeah, then they come back on again, maybe 15, 30 seconds, and again, off and on, off and on.
They're motion sensors?
No, they're
no.
street lights.
They
what
need to
it
be
is
serviced and probably a fuse replaced, something like that, but the county doesn't want to do it.
The light.
Well, they don't want to do this
They
more
don't
than
want to
one.
do it until there's enough for them to spend a day down here. So, but they may be encouraged to do it if somebody other than the city clerk calls them. That's my opinion.
Duly noted.
I'm just saying.
We have a comment
Yeah, go
from the public. Go ahead.
On East Street, right there where the pavement ends and it goes to rock, there's a light, a pole, and it just flickers all night long. It doesn't come on, it doesn't go off, it just
Flicker.
flickers, it goes
That's
on and
enough
off.
to keep
It's
busy
an on and off
most of the
thing.
day.
And it's crazy, it drives people nuts. It's like, come on or go off, you know?
Well, Well, the guy that was complaining, if I recall, is the person who says we have too many lights.
Yeah.
And for a city this size, I would have to disagree with them, because there are people who are complaining there's not enough lights.
Yeah, I'm happy for the lights we have down at the end on the corner, it's nice.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
glad
did
it's
speak,
working again.
yeah, I spoke to the neighbors of this individual, and they, with equal vociferity,
The 25th center.
demanded that we keep that.
Keep that
They
light.
like the light. So this is obviously potentially a touchy subject.
Well, you can pull shades, there's like a shades for it.
Yeah, you
Full
can,
shades, or you can
there's
put some-
blackening
Yeah.
shades.
I have a very good solution to this. A night patrolman, if they would have their notepad, they could see them. And instead of me driving around at night, he can mark it down for us, and I sure appreciate it that way.
I wonder how feasible that would be for our sheriff's.
That's an interesting concept.
Not
Not saying I won't do it, but.
This town breaks new ground everywhere we go.
Okay, you give it some serious thought. Yes, sir. Duly noted, thank you for your encouragement there. Well, certainly, I think I wouldn't mind making a personal contact with the light officials. And if we could do a little survey, and we could come up with a list of specific locations.
You really need a survey at night for the PUD, because
They're not going to come.
they're not here at night, and they don't know which sensor's out and so forth.
Okay, well, if the council doesn't object to it, we'll engage in an informal research project, and we will set in motion that. It may not ultimately solve this resident's concerns, but at least we can make it a matter of public record.
I think it's the exact opposite of
But there may be another solution. When he's here, he can share that with you. Okay, well, thank you for your action on that. We have one other item for discussion. We added item number 5, council discussion on possible rental housing regulation. It's been a concern, I know, of at least one and possibly more members of the city council. Concerns about some of our landlords. I wouldn't refer to them necessarily as deadbeat landlords, but landlords whose rental properties may not be necessarily fit for human habitation. And so, but I don't want to put words in the mouth of our council members. That's why this is on the agenda.
I brought it up at a previous council meeting, and it sort of stunned a few people and got interpreted incorrectly. And I just thought it'd be good to bring it up again now that we have an engineer on staff going around checking to make sure things are meet current codes. That our rental housing, one way to eliminate deadbeat landlords is to have their places meet current electrical, plumbing, and structural codes before they're rented. And when they lose a tenant, before they pick up another tenant, to have it inspected again so that we know those houses are still compliant. And we have a rash of rentals in this town where I personally know some of the people that are renting, and one lady was standing in her shower, and her shower fell through the floor. And the landlord wouldn't fix it. And she said, well, I'm going to raise your rent to fix that. That's a basic need that they should have. And we have other people that are bringing renters in. Places are falling apart, or they're commercial buildings and they make them residential, and there's no inspections made, there's no code approvals, there's nothing. And one way you can stop that is by having them checked before they're rented. They're given when you build a house, you have to have an occupancy permit before you can move in. So when you have a rental place, I would think it would behoove the city to protect us from bad tenants and to protect us from bad renters. Or bad landlords. And to look at this issue. I've talked with a lot of cities about it. They're all going through it. There's only 1 or 2 cities in the state that have really enforced it. And they now have, Pasco is one of the cities that has brought that up. And I brought the information from Pasco the last time. And theirs was very reasonable. As a landlord, you're a business. So as a business, you need a business license, and it was $15 a year. I mean, it's not what you call a stab in the back. It's just minor, but at least makes you aware. And then their buildings, before they could be rented, had to be inspected and made sure they met structural code, electrical code, and plumbing codes. I mean, that's minor.
That's minor.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We do have a comment from the public. Council Carey.
Well, there are a lot of older homes in this community that are in good shape.
That's
They
right.
do not pass current code.
But if they're rented out,
I'm just saying that you're...
I know that. We have new water system put in, we have new sewer system put in, and we're not asking that they have brand new toilets and brand new flushing mechanisms and brand new electrical, but...
Okay, but that is current code, though. That's what I'm saying. When they come in and they inspect for current code, they can even get down to which wire you used. I mean, so is this something that you guys are going to say, okay, this is...
We're discussing it. We're discussing it and looking into it because...
I'm just trying to figure out where...
Okay, well, I can point out a couple places, but I prefer not to do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I will tell you, I do know people who rent, whose places do not meet any codes whatsoever. When I bought an old house and had to remodel it, and I did, and I had to fix everything to bring it up to current codes. I had to have egress windows in the bedrooms. I had to have wiring. I rewired the whole house. I did all the plumbing. I had to buy a permit, and I had to pay that permit. I had to have it inspected. I had to pay the inspector. I had to do all that stuff. And I don't see why somebody who says, okay, I'm going to rent my house out, and it hasn't been inspected in 40 years, and it's an old house, why a tenant should be responsible when he's paying good rent to be responsible to make sure that rental house he's renting meets current codes. I have friends right now who don't live in this town. They live in Texas. They hired a contractor to come in and do the electrical. He didn't do what he was paid to do. That place burned down. Okay? Now, if that would have been inspected, that would have been caught. And then the tenant who was living in the house and paying their rent was put out on the street. Now, who's that fair to? The landlord, I know the landlord, and the landlord did pay the contractor to do the work. I know the tenant, and the tenant was paying the rent. The house, the work was not done properly, and it was never inspected.
I own a home that I really don't want to debate this.
Now, this is not to make things more difficult for everybody. It's trying to eliminate a lot of bad housing and housing that we have. If we improve the housing, we'll improve the type of tenants we have. If we improve the tenants, we improve the quality of the people who live here.
So people that keep their
Well, excuse me.
places up, how are we
Sorry,
going to
it's my
discuss
job as moderator.
Ken, how are we going to discuss this?
When the council, it's a council meeting, and it's your privilege to listen to them deliberate. And if they want to hear your comment, just get their attention. It's my job to moderate. We can't just have it turn into a cross-examination. That's how it goes. Raise your hand, get my attention, and then council will decide if they want to hear it. That's how it goes. So you can experiment if you want to. Okay. Any other observations? I'd like to interject here that this is obviously a very sensitive issue. The council's not engaging in any decisions tonight. This is their opportunity to discuss it. I did raise the topic with our new building inspector, Ron Kemp, and he immediately understood how sensitive that would be to landowners in our community. Nobody wants additional permitting projects and fees associated with permitting. But Mr. Kemp says that he is, in his many years of experience with this sensitive subject, he knows that there are guidelines that cities can embrace And he said he would look into that, and he assured us that he would bring other types of possible, what's the word, permitting processes for rental houses. They're not uncommon, and it may be that they don't have the depth of specificity that a regular building permit would have. So I think it would be remiss on our part if we just jump to a conclusion that it's going to bring in a whole new layer. I don't know if it won't, but the only way to find out is to get the information. So if we pursue this, Mr. Kemp, I know is busy, as you're obviously becoming aware with our other permit challenges. But he said it would be a simple matter for him to forward a copy of that for your perusal. So there, I just throw that out there. Maybe we could continue to discuss that in our future council meetings.
That's why I brought it up tonight. I don't want it to be a dead issue. I want it discussed, and I want us to consider it. We have to do something to eliminate some of the places that are being rented out. And I hate to say the word, I hate the word to use eliminate, but if they're not safe for the people to live in, and if they can't take a shower without going through the floor, and if the wiring is not safe, the renter doesn't know. They just come in and they figure the place is acceptable and they rent. So the renter then gets stuck, and maybe the landlords don't even know what they have. But it would be a way to upgrade the housing we have in the town. And right now, rental housing, some of these houses are old, and they haven't been checked for anything in years. The house I bought it was a circus. But I've been in that business all my life, so I knew to look and to check things. And when I bought my house, I walked in and saw what was there, went out with a pair of pliers, and I cut the wires in the house to make sure that nobody could turn power on. Because I didn't want it to burn down. And I know there's other houses just like that. So I would be remiss if I didn't at least bring it to the people's attention, to at least consider what we can do to improve the rental housing in this town, to make sure it's done properly. That's for the safety of the renter and the landlord.
Okay, very good. That's why you're elected by the people to share your concerns about their well-being. With that, are there any other comments about that last item on our agenda? If not, then we
Can I just make one quick comment?
Absolutely.
No, I just wanted council to understand the document that they got for the budget is a preliminary expenditures for 2016. In no way is this set in stone. This is just the very first rough ideas of what the expenditures may look like for 2016. You can put that in your little folders that I gave you, and I'll be providing these to you through the next couple of months. So, if you want to start bringing your budget folders with you to council meetings, you'll probably be needing them in the future. So,
Thanks for that reminder. Thank you for that project, and make sure you do get it in your budget because it is coming up. All right, with that having been said, and seeing that there are no other agenda items,